So I guess I do have a question, and that is the types of questions, maybe some examples of how you would inquire for somebody to deepen the connection.
I think one of the first bits is that it's really essential that we are cultivating our awareness of when our ego is involved and when it's resting, when our egoic identities, not the helpful way that we have an ego, but when it rises and we're reactive. Because if we can't recognize that and know when it's happening and when it's at rest, it's very hard to enter into those deeper conversations because we are in a readiness of reactivity if our ego is right there. So that practice helps us in all aspects of life. How constricted am I? You have in the past heard me say, oh, I'm aware that my ego is engaged here. I full disclosure, I'm now in a biased state. I'm aware of it. I feel it. And I usually just disclose that because I can tell that that's what's happening for me. But whether you're overt about it or not, for all of us to really know when we're grabbed and when we have an open sense of, a greater sense of self. So that's really the first piece, because otherwise we are just reacting. It's like a ping pong ball or a pinball, going back and forth between us, and there's not a way to deepen it. And the second, a real sense of curiosity, which is very hard to do when the ego's engaged. When the ego's engaged, it wants to be right. Its view of reality needs to be affirmed by the other. So there's all kinds of agendas and expectations when the ego's engaged. That's why we need to know. It's one of the reasons that we really need to cultivate a practice of knowing when that ego is constricted and engaged, when we're acting from that place. So to open to something beyond that allows a real curiosity without any readiness for judgment in the way another sees the world or experiences their human happening, right? But the curiosity allows for all kinds of questions that are really genuine. I'm right here present and I'm curious about knowing what life is like for you. I'm available to share. I would love to share what it is like for me. But that element of curiosity without the reactivity of ego, those two as a pair are a really exciting and powerful way to enter into deeper connection, conversation, knowing of another being, or sharing that knowing. And then really understanding our own languaging, because when something comes up at that level, from the level of the heart that we want to share, what has heart and meaning, and then I'm wanting to share that, it is something that is beyond words, that now I have to translate into words in this particular language that I'm not always skilled at, English. And then it goes through your filter and your worldview and all of those bits to get into your sense of what I'm even trying to say. And unless we have the back and forth, and the back and forth is if we don't have ego engaged and we bring curiosity, the back and forth is not back and forth like against. It's a lifting up. It's a, wow, this is so engaging and interesting. It's an expansion of what we're holding together.
I love your response, Tovah. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. It's a great one.